Yo, what's up, YouTube? Welcome to the Coffee Pod. My name is Chisha Zed.
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
Breaking news, Kanye West is no longer a billionaire after Adidas cut ties with him, Forbes reports. So guys, it's finally happened. The many partnerships and brands attached to Kanye West have finally responded to his controversial statements on his campaign to speak his truth, right? I mean, at this point, you have to be purposefully avoiding hearing about Kanye West because he's literally been everywhere on some of the most popular platforms. After controversial statements made on Drink Champs, everybody was expecting Kanye West would kind of back away and realize that this may go terribly for his brand. In specific, his comments that he made towards the Jewish people. But he didn't back down, right? Next, he was on Piers Morgan. Piers Morgan talked to him, and if you haven't seen that interview with him and Piers Morgan, that interview is pretty wild. Some wild coffee. Wasn't expecting just that whole conversation to take place, but next, he was on Tucker Carlson, and then he had a conversation with Lex, and it doesn't look like Kanye West is slowing down. And because of all this, Adidas, Balenciaga, Vogue, and CAA have all cut ties with Kanye West following his anti-Semitism statements. And word on the street is his loss of Adidas has caused his net worth to plummet to $400 million. And he is no longer on the Forbes billionaire list. Now, does Kanye care that he's no longer a billionaire as stated by this came from Forbes, right? Does he care? Does he not like this coffee?
This coffee smells like shit.
Well, I tend to lean towards the idea that he cares because he doesn't hesitate to let people know how much he's worth, right? He'll correct people a lot of times in interviews. And out of all the interviews Kanye West has had, I think the most productive one is the one I saw with him and Lex. Now, in that interview, Kanye West is the only time I heard him hint to the fact that he could have approached this a lot differently. But in his words, he says, I'm a different type of freedom fighter. I'm fighting fire with fire. But also made the statement that he could have gone about this a different way. As always, the internet responded to Kanye West no longer being a billionaire stated by Forbes and the reaction of brands cutting ties with them. The first comment here comes from a woman and it reads, laugh out loud, y'all saying he down bad. Since when is $400 million bad? Well, I guess it depends on who you ask. To the common person, $400 million, they'll take that. To Kanye West, that's a lot less than he was worth previously. But this comment got 5K plus likes. We've got another comment here that comes from a gentleman that reads, he knows what he's doing to get out these contracts and do this on his own. With the laughing emoji, 4K likes. So there's a group of people that believe Kanye West actually wants this to happen, that he wants his brands to cut ties with them, that he wants them to release him from his contracts that he has with them. I don't know. I don't think any of us can know for sure. I think only time will tell. Next comment here from a woman reads, I wish when people said things about black people, ... never mind. It's falling on deaf ears because they don't care about us. For real, shaking my head. 2K plus likes. Another gentleman commented and said, plot twist, this was all done to get out of the contracts. Someone else responded to him and said, y'all slow. The face palm, another woman said, agreed. So she agrees that he did this on purpose. And a gentleman added to this thread and said, him losing half his fortune is now part of some genius plan is effing ridiculous, with the laughing emojis. Another woman added and said, speech is free. Consequences of using it is not. 1K plus likes. And finally, our last comment here reads, manic episodes aren't excusable, but where was the uproar when he said slavery was a choice or George Floyd died from fentanyl? But soon as he says some shit about the ancestors, with the parentheses of Jews, all ties savored. Laugh out loud, joke. 1K plus likes. Yeah, so it's obvious Kanye West's relationships with these brands, well, it's pretty vital to the success and the monetary value of his brand. The question is, what next, right? What happens to Kanye from here? What does he have planned? I don't know. I guess we'll only have to wait and see. how all this turns out. I do want to make a statement here, though, to the black people who say things like, where was all the uproar, or where was all the savoring of ties when he said things about black people? Or they'll generalize this and say, well, why doesn't anybody do these things when people say things about the black community? There's a portion of black people who don't understand how the world works. Why should they come to your defense? That's the question. Why should any other group of people come to your defense when someone in your community is reacting in a way that you think has wronged you? And I'm not, this conversation is no longer about Kanye West. It's just a concept I wish more people understood. The power of ownership, being able to exercise economic power. And I truly believe black people will never get to a place of true influence if they don't understand this. If you expect people to fight your battles for you, you can't just say anything about certain groups of people. You can't just say anything about the Chinese because they have economic power. They'll pull sponsors from you. They'll boycott. This is how the world works. If you step out of line for any group of people, they now use their economic power to pull sponsorships, to do all this type of stuff. This is the way the game is played. If black people want power, they're going to have to build economically. More entrepreneurs will have to be born. That's how countries and governments work as a whole. Guys, as always, curious to know what you guys thought of this topic. Leave your comments down below. Listen, I appreciate you for checking out yet another episode of The Coffee Pot. Till next time, I'm out. Peace.